Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, your trusted hub for grounded financial analysis and confirmed updates on the Iraqi currency market. As of the current date in the USA, one question continues to echo across the dinar community. Will the long-anticipated revaluation actually turn holders into millionaires? The internet is flooded with speculation, bold claims, and viral videos, but today, we're cutting through the noise. We're walking you through the real numbers, the hidden fees, the overlooked taxes, and everything standing between your dinar stash and that potential payday. Let's start by looking at the foundation of this belief. Many holders have accumulated 1 million Iraqi dinar or more, clinging to the possibility of a dramatic upswing in value. Decades ago, such dreams wouldn't have sounded too far-fetched. Back in the pre-Gulf War era of the early 1990s, reports indicated the Iraqi dinar traded at over $3.00 per one IQ. But after multiple wars, economic isolation, sanctions, and domestic instability, its purchasing power deteriorated severely. Right now, it floats somewhere between 1,300 and 1,500 IQD per USD, subject to market swings. Yet, despite this long fall, investor confidence hasn't vanished. Many still believe that Iraq is gearing up for a massive financial shift, a currency reset that might lift the dinar to a small fraction or even match its historical highs. Optimists imagine a bump to $0.10. Others bet on $1.00, and a few hold out for a return to over $3.00 per IQD. In theory, this would transform modest investments into seven-figure accounts. But it's not quite that simple. Before your windfall lands in your bank account, there are multiple barriers that will eat into your final gain, starting with exchange fees, and then taxes that can cut deep. Let's break this down using a hypothetical but popular example. Suppose the dinar jumps to exactly $1.00 per IQD. If you're holding 1 million dinar, that would place your theoretical growth at $1 million, 0 cents USD. On the surface, this looks life-changing. But once you step into the exchange process, deductions begin. Most transactions go through a bank or a registered dealer, and they typically charge fees between 2% to 5%. That means you could immediately lose anywhere from $20,000, 0 cents, to $50,000, 0 cents, in just one step. After that initial haircut, taxes come into play, and in the United States, the IRS classifies gains from currency speculation as taxable. If your dinar purchase was an investment, then any profit from the exchange is viewed as a capital gain. The rate you pay depends on your overall income, but it can range from 15% up to 37% federally. That means you could be saying goodbye to an additional $150,000, 0 cents, to $370,000, 0 cents, from your post-fee total. And this is before state taxes, which in places like California or New York can climb to 10 to 13%, depending on your filing status and income tier. Let's consider a conservative case. If your dinar is exchanged at $1.00 per IQD and you're hit with a 3% dealer fee, you'll walk away with $970,000, 0 cents. Then, if the IRS takes a 25% slice, that's $242,500, 0 cents in taxes. Your remaining balance drops to $727,500, 0 cents. Still substantial, but not the full million many dream about. Add in state tax, and your final figure could end up closer to $600,000, 0 cents, or even lower depending on where you live. Now, let's adjust the scenario to a more modest rate. Something some analysts see as more likely. If the revaluation is $0.10 per IQD, your 1 million dinar now equals $100,000, 0 cents pre-fees. Apply a 3% exchange cost, then take out 25% federal tax, and you could be left with less than $70,000, 0 cents. A rate of $0.25 per IQD would push the pre-tax value to $250,000, 0 cents, but after all deductions, the real return might fall between $150,000, 0 cents, to $200,000, 0 cents. A meaningful gain, yes, but a far cry from millionaire territory. And there's the high-extend scenario floating around in dinar forums. A return to $3.22 per IQD, mirroring its pre-war level. That would place the value of 1 million dinar at over $3,200,000, 0 cents. While the dream is compelling, most financial experts consider this outcome extremely unlikely in the near term. For Iraq to justify such an exchange rate, the country would need massive growth in GDP, deep financial reforms, and a powerful boost in foreign currency reserves. All of that takes years, likely decades, not months. Beyond valuation, there's the issue of proof. If your dinar was bought online, at a local expo, or even from a friend, and you don't have valid documentation, you're facing risk. Without a verifiable receipt from a licensed dealer, banks may reject your notes outright. Some might request official receipts, serial number logs, or certificates of authenticity. If your stash can't be confirmed as legitimate, it might be declined or stuck in legal limbo until verified. That leads us to a practical but critical question. Where do you even exchange your IQD when the time comes? Some local U.S. banks might offer foreign exchange services, but most avoid handling exotic currencies like the dinar, especially if Iraq hasn't fully reintegrated into the global financial system. Even institutions that used to exchange IQD may pause or limit transactions due to regulatory uncertainty. Branches may enforce strict limits, request identification, and restrict large transactions unless special arrangements are made in advance. If your bank isn't an option, private currency dealers become the next choice. Entities such as Safe Dinar or Exchange of America could process dinar redemptions, though they come with their own guidelines. Licensing matters, so before sending your currency anywhere, double-check that the dealer is compliant with U.S. financial rules and operates transparently. Keep a close eye on fees, timelines, and customer support policies. Scams are rampant in the FX world, so don't risk sending large sums to a name you haven't vetted. Some investors consider international banks, especially those based in the Middle East, as another route. While they might offer stronger conversion rates post-revaluation, moving money across borders introduces complexities. You'll have to navigate strict U.S. reporting laws, ensure secure transfers, and verify that the receiving institution aligns with American banking standards. Wire transfers of large amounts might trigger federal alerts or even get frozen for further verification. Timing is another factor that can't be underestimated. Just because the revaluation happens doesn't mean exchanging immediately is the smartest move. Some market watchers believe Iraq could implement a staggered increase, where the dinar first rises to $0.10, then later adjusts to $0.25, and potentially approaches $1.00 over time. If you rush in right after the initial announcement, you might miss those higher phases, but there's risk on both sides. Waiting too long might expose you to sudden policy changes, altered tax rules, or currency freezes that governments sometimes implement during transitional events. That's why building a smart, customized plan now, before any announcement, is more important than ever. One persistent rumor that refuses to die in dinar circles is the notion of a tax-free redemption window. It's often claimed that once the revaluation hits, a limited-time opportunity will exist for IQD holders to exchange without paying federal taxes. While it's tempting to believe, there's no legislation in place to support such a loophole. The IRS treats gains on foreign currency like any other investment income. In fact, any transaction over $10,000, 0 cents, is automatically flagged and reported under the Bank Secrecy Act and other federal financial transparency laws. Hoping that a secret window opens is not just wishful thinking, it could lead to serious consequences if you're unprepared. Instead, sound financial planning is your best defense. First, store your currency securely. This isn't just about a safe. It should be fireproof, waterproof, and discreet. Second, get all your purchase documents in order. If you worked with a licensed dealer, reach out and request digital copies of receipts, serial confirmations, or purchase logs. If you lost these documents, you may still be able to request reissuance or account confirmation. Third, and this is critical, consult a tax expert who understands foreign currency transactions. Not every CPA does. Ideally, you want someone who knows how to structure gains, reduce exposure using gifting allowances, or possibly offset the profit with charitable deductions where applicable. Scams will surge the moment the revaluation is announced. This isn't speculation, it's historical precedent. Every major economic shift attracts opportunists. You may receive calls, emails, or social media messages from people posing as financial authorities, claiming to offer insider access to elite exchange platforms or backdoor rates. Some might impersonate government officials. Others may act like brokers with private contracts. All of these should be treated with immediate suspicion. Real exchanges will never ask you to wire funds in advance, send currency to an unverified location, or join secret online groups. If something feels rushed or vague, walk away. That's why your best defense is preparation, not reaction. If the revaluation happens and you're scrambling to figure out what to do, you've already lost ground. You should have a written plan: which financial advisor to call, which bank or dealer to contact, where your currency is located, and which documents prove your ownership. Some seasoned investors choose to split their dinar holdings into smaller bundles. That way, they can test one institution before committing the rest. It also gives them flexibility to spread out exchanges across tax years, possibly avoiding being bumped into higher brackets. Others involve legal counsel early to ensure estate planning and long-term asset protection are handled before the money hits their account. Now imagine this: the revaluation is announced this evening. Within hours, social media goes wild. Text messages start rolling in. The new rate is $1.00 per IQD. You log in, check your stash. 1 million dinar, now potentially valued at $1 million, 0 cents. But the bank website is down. Hotlines are jammed. Some exchanges aren't taking calls. Others say they'll be ready in 48 to 72 hours as systems get updated. You feel the urge to act, but acting without a plan could cost you tens of thousands of dollars or more. The most successful investors will be those who take a breath, verify every detail, and move forward with clarity. So after all of this, what's the real takeaway? Could the Iraqi dinar make you rich overnight? Yes, in theory. But what ends up in your pocket will depend entirely on how you handle the details. Between exchange fees, federal and state taxes, documentation issues, and possible delays, many holders will ultimately receive 60% to 80% of what they initially expected, not because of fraud, but because of real-world financial filters that apply to any large transaction. That's still a phenomenal return for many people, but it won't feel that way if you're not prepared. That means this is the time to act. Not after the announcement, not during the frenzy, but now. Know where your dinar is. Back up every receipt and document. Research licensed dealers and local banks with foreign exchange capabilities. Make sure your safe is fireproof. Talk to a tax strategist. Build your circle of trusted advisors before the clock starts ticking. At Iraqi Dinar News, we're here to keep you informed, not hyped. We believe real profits come from smart planning and patient action. Whether you expect the rate to hit $0, 10 cents, $1, 0 cents, or beyond, the difference between success and regret lies in preparation. Share this video with your fellow dinar holders, drop your thoughts below, and make sure you're subscribed for the most grounded, real-world updates on what could be one of the most significant financial opportunities of our generation. Stay alert, stay rational, and above all, stay ready. We'll see you in the next update.